Greetings, it's Iain from RTO, and what a day I've had. The first recording this morning was awful. It sounded like I'd recorded in the bath, lots of echo, so I've had to wait until my person had been. So, here we go. Dr Feelgood today on the Music Marathon. Another request. Love this band. From the very first minute I've heard them, and I still like them today, even though it's not the original band. Sadly, two of the members are no longer with us and the other two are not in the band, but the music's still good. Dr Feelgood formed in 1971 in Canvey Island, Essex, by John Wilco Johnson, the singer Lee Brilleaux, John B. Sparks, known as Sparko on the bass, John Martin, known as the Big Figure, on drums. The best period was in that mid-70s time. Sadly, Brillo died in 1994 of lymphomia, and also Wilco died last year. They have recorded 17 albums. So here we go. So coming in at number 17 is the 17th and most current album, released in 2006, called A Repeat Prescription. The band at the time was Phil T. Mitchell on bass, Kevin Morris on drums, guitars Steve Walwyn, keyboards Ian Gibbons, and lead vocals Robert Kane. Basically, they've just re-recorded the old classics. We've got Milk and Alcohol on here, I Can Tell, Baby Jane, All Through the City, Roxette, Looking Back, She's a Wind-Up, She Does It Right, which is pretty good. The re-run is probably the best track on the album. Back in the Night, Take a Trick, Down at the Doctor's, Route 66, and Run, Rudolph, Run. It's not a bad album. The music's good. It's not the original, so I'll give that one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 16 from 1986, the 11th album, Brillo. It's got Lee on it. It's the only original member in the band now. Gordon Russell on guitars, Phil H. Mitchell on bass, and Kevin Morris again on the drums. First track is my favourite. I Love You, So You're Mine. Still got that distinctive sound regardless of who's in the band. Lee's vocal is great. It's the best track on the album. You Got My Number, which of course is an Undertones cover, and they do a really good version of it. Big Enough, another really good track. It's got some quirky keyboards in here, and it's another good vocal from Lee. Don't Wait Up. This is more poppy, AOR. Not a fan of that one at all. Get Rhythm, which is a Johnny Cash number, of course. It's okay. Pretty good version. Then we have Where Is the Next One? One of the slower ones. That doesn't suit them. Just play rock and roll and blues. Play Dirty. That's alright. Kevin's drums have been muted a little bit, so it doesn't sound very good. Then we have a cover of Bill Haley's See You Later, Alligator, and it's not very good. It's probably one of the weakest cover versions they've ever done. Rough Ride comes next. This is a smooth sounding Dr Feelgood, and I don't want to hear that. I'm a Real song. It's a good song, but it's the production again that lets it down. The drums are too smooth. Come On Over Here is a little rock and roll number. It's not too bad. Take What You Get. Great vocal from Lee, but it's just spoilt by the production on it. That was the last track. Nothing wrong with the songs on this album. It's just that horrible 80s production again. They've muted Kevin's drums, and it just doesn't sound right. So I shall give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 15, we have the 12th album from 1987 called Classic. It's the same lineup as the previous album. Lee on the vocals, Gordon lead guitar, Phil H. Mitchell on bass, and Kevin Morris. First song on here is called Hunting, Shooting and Fishing. Bit better production on this. It's not a bad song. It's a great vocal from Lee. Break These Chains has the potential of being a really good song, but it's spoilt by the production on it. Heartbeat, it's probably one of the... It's okay. It just doesn't sound right with the production. I Want to Make Love to You, that horrible sort of 80s nonsense, no. But the best track on here is their cover version of Bob Dylan's Highway 61. Absolutely brilliant version of it. It's alright, the next one, Hurricane. It's listenable. Quit While You're Behind, good track. Some great guitar from Gordon. Yeah, nice little bit of guitar work there, and it's a great vocal from Lee as ever. Nothing Like It. More 80s fodder, just doesn't do anything to me. Spy versus Spy, some great guitar work on here. The bass sounds good, but it's the drum mix that lets it down. And the last track, Crack Me Up, another of those songs that's got very bad drum mix on. There's a good selection of songs on this one, but it's once let down by bad drumming mix, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in at number 14 we have Doctor's Orders, the 10th album from 1984. Still the same lineup as the previous albums: Lee, Gordon, Phil H. Mitchell and Kevin Morris. So the first track on here is a track called Close But No Cigar. Great song, some nice guitar work from Gordon Russell on that one. Some really good riffs. So Long, nice tune, great vocals, smooth drumming, no. Okay, the next is a cover song, and it's My Way, and it's not Frank's, it's the Eddie Cochran version, and they do a really good cover version of that. I really like that. Next is You Don't Love Me, which is a Willie Cobb number, and they do a great version of it. Then we have my favourite track on here, and it is a version of Jimmy Hughes's Neighbour Neighbour. I've also got this by The Spectres, or Status Quo, and I think Dr Feelgood do a great version of that song too. Up next is Talk of the Devil, don't mind this song, pretty good. Then we have a Young Jesse song, and it's called Hit, Git and Split. Absolutely corker version of the song. Then we have an original song on here, I Can't Be Satisfied. Great vocal from Lee on this, and another really good guitar work from Gordon. Next up, another cover song. This is a Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5. Big brass sound in the original, but this is a rocky version of Saturday Night Fry Fish. Really, really good. Driving Wheel, another great song. Bluesy guitar work. Excellent track. It Ain't Right. Great bit of harmonica here from Lee. The great bass line from Phil. Solid. Up next, a Moose Allison cover, I Don't Worry About a Thing. Some great guitar work. I do like that. It's a really good cover. She's in the Middle. Good old-fashioned rhythm and blues. Then the last track, Dangerous. Now, the beginning of it is a lot the grunge riff from ZZ Top, but it goes on the thing. But it's a pretty cool song anyway. I would say this is certainly one of the better albums of the 80s. Lots of good covers here, but it's that smooth drums that lets it down a little bit. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 13 from 1996, the 16th. Now this is the first album without Lee, who sadly died. So we've got Pete Gage on vocals, Steve Walwyn on the guitars, Phil Mitchell on bass and Kevin Morris on the drums. First track on here is another cover, and it's the Papa Lightfoot song Wine, Women and Whiskey, and what a great version. Steve does some great guitar work, but Pete's vocal is a little bit too gritty for me. Then we get Sweet Louise, which is a really good song. Great vocal from Pete on this one, not so gritty. World Keeps Turning, which is of course a Fleetwood Mac song, and Pete does a good job on this. Really strong track. Then we get On the Road Again, the great Canned Heat song. Very good version of it. There's some really good covers of it, and this is one of them. Instinct to Survive, which is a original song. It's probably Pete's best vocal on here. Really good. Mellow Down Easy comes next. A song that was originally done by Little Walter, and the band nail it again. Going Out West. Now this is a Tom Waits song, and Pete actually has got the same gritty voice as Tom Waits, and it's absolutely a brilliant version. One of my favourite songs on the album. But my favourite track of this album is Cheap at Half the Price. It's just a great bit of harmonica work here from Pete. Very, very good. It's not a bad vocal either. Then we get Second Opinion. Solid music. Even though it's not the classic lineup of Dr Feelgood, you know it's a Dr Feelgood track. That's how good it is. Repo Man, one of the weaker tracks on the album, I'm afraid, not for me. We end up with You Got Me, just a solid rock and roll song. First album without Lee. I think they did a great job. The covers on here are fantastic, especially that Tom Waits one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay then, coming in at number 12 is the 11th album from 1985, and it's just full of great blues songs, and it's called Madman Blues. So Lee's on the lead vocals, and it's Gordon, Russell, Phil H. Mitchell and Kevin Morris again. First track is a great version of Dust My Broom, recorded by Robert Johnson originally. Elmore James has done it, and of course ZZ Top as well. It's a great song, and I love that version. Then we have a version of Wilson Pickett's Something You've Got, another brilliant song, brilliant cover. Then one of my favourite blues artists, John Lee Hooker, and the wonderful Dimples. Just a killer version of that. Then we have a Freddie King number, Living on the Highway, and another really good version. Then we have another Freddie King song, also recorded with Eric Clapton, and it's Tore Down. Can't go wrong with that one. The title track, Madman Blues, of course, it's my favourite track on here, and it's probably one of my favourite John Lee Hooker songs as well. Absolutely brilliant. Next up is a cover version of Ray Charles's I've Got News. Lots of people have done this. A popular version was by Feargal Sharkey, but this is a really good song to cover anyway. Then we have My Babe, which is a song that Little Walter performed, but written by the great Willie Dixon, and it's fantastic. Can't Find the Lady. It's a real groovy track. Great vocal from Lee. Rock Me Baby, a classic from B.B. King, and it's a great version, my second favourite track on the album. A great blues album. Some great versions of these songs. It's a really strong album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay then, up next at number 11, 16th album from the year 2000, Chess Masters. New singer as well, Robert Kane, and it's Steve Walwyn on lead vocals, and the ever-present in the latest band, Phil Mitchell bass and Kevin Morris on drums. Opens up with a cover of a Chuck Berry song, Nadine. I think this is a pretty good version of it. It's a little bit more meatier than Chuck's. Up next is a track that was recorded by Ronnie Self, and it's Date Bait, and it's a really good version of it as well. Next up is a Sonny Boy Williamson song, You Gotta Help Me, and another great vocal from Robert Kane, and it's a very good version of this song. Then we have another Chuck Berry song, Talk About You, rather good version as well. Then we have The Walk, which was recorded first by Jimmy McCracklin in 1958. Very good version. A lot of people have done this, including Annie Lennox. Up next is 29 Ways. This is a song written by Willie Dixon that wasn't really... No one's recorded it, apparently. I don't know how true that is, but it's a great song. Then my favourite on here is Who Do You Love? First recorded by Little Walter, but was really made famous by The Doors, of course. And this is a very good version of it as well. If Wolves Could Talk, which is a Little Milton song. That's very good version. Celine Dion had a version of it, and it wasn't. And the next track is a Doc Pomus track, goes back to 1950, and it's Send for the Doctor. Again, it's a great song originally, and Dr Feelgood just kill it again, brilliant. Then there's Killing Floor, recorded by Howlin' Wolf, of course. The Doors done it as well, really good. Then we have Susie Q, first recorded by Dol Hawkins. It's a proper really rockabilly song, that is, but the version that we know is Clearwater Revival, even the Rolling Stones, very good. Another Sonny Boy Williams song, and one of my favourites by Sonny Boy, and it's Don't Start Me Talking, and it's a great version of it. Give Me One Shot, old song by J.B. Lenoir, very good. And the worst track on here, and it's one of my favourite tracks by Muddy Waters, and it's Oochie Coochie Man, but their version is not very good. Another great blues album. Robert Kane does a great job on the vocals, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay then, coming in at number 10, I got the 14th album from 1991 called Primo. This is Lee Brillo, Steve Walwyn. Some of the bass is done by Phil Mitchell and Dave Bronze, with Kevin Morris on the drums. Heat of the City, which is a Nick Lowe song, and it's a great song, very good song. Next up is My Sugar Turns to Alcohol. Great bass line here. I don't know if it's Phil or Dave, but it's good. Then an excellent version of Jeff Beck's Going Down. Love the horns on this, absolutely killer. Don't know who organised that, but it sounds good. No Time, great guitar work here from Steve. It's a very simple blues track. World in a Jug, which is another Canned Heat song, and they mentioned that at the beginning, saying this was recorded by Canned Heat and da-de-da-de-da, and they went straight into it, and it's brilliant. Baby If You Quit Me, one of my favourite songs on here. It's just a real great bluesy song. Then we have this short little Primo blues, just some little bit of blues music for a minute. Standing at the Crossroads Again, which is a song by Mickey Jupp. Now they've covered a few of them. Wilco Wilkinson loved Mickey Jupp, and I like him. And he says I'm not the best blues player, but he's good. It's a really good song. Then we have Been Down So Long. Another song, can't remember who done this, lots of people have covered it, and they do it justice very well. Don't Worry Baby, not to be mistaken with the Beach Boys version, so it's pretty good. My favourite on here though is a little number called Down by the Jetty Blues. It's got some great harmonica by Lee, killer track. Then they do another cover, and this is an Eddie Clearwater song, and it's called 2x9. And the harmonica again is brilliant on this. Another great album, a great mixture of some classics, some original songs. You just can't go wrong here. So it's an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 9, this is the 15th album from 1993, the Feelgood Factor. Lee is on lead vocals and harmonica and slide guitar. Steve Walwyn on the lead and slide guitars. Dave Bronze is on the bass, and the ever-present Kevin Morris. First track is the title track, the Feelgood Factor. Great bass line here from Dave, with a super duper vocal from Lee. Tanaka is next. Now this is originally done by Johnny Johnson, and I think it's a great cover. Not much difference between the original and this. Tell Me No Lies. Love the guitar work from Steve on here. It's just a really great harmonica as well. Next up, Styrofoam. Typical drumming here from Kevin. Really good drummer. Keeps it going. There's some nice riffs in here. Then we have a Bob Dylan song, I'm in the Mood for You. And I do prefer this version to Bob's. Okay, my favourite track though is a track called Double Cross. It's catchy tune. The riffs are good. It's just a classic sounding Dr Feelgood track. Line About the Blues. Just a fabulous blues song. Then we have She Moves Me, which was written by Sam Ling and Johnny Guitar Watson from 1956. Once again, they deliver a great version of another great song. Then we have Wolfman Calling. Brilliant. Howlin' Wolf song. And they do a great version of it. One Step Forward's next, written by the bass player Dave Bronze, and it's just fantastic. Great vocal from Lee. 1 to 10, another solid song. You just can't knock it. It's great. And then Fall For You, some more great work from Steve on the guitar. Great vocal from Lee. This was sadly Lee's last album, and he left us with some great vocals. I love this album. Very sad though, you know, this was the last we heard from Lee. So it was an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 8 from 1982, Fast Women and Slow Horses. This is Lee on vocals and harmonica, Johnny guitar on lead, Sparko on the bass, and the Big Figure on the drums. First track is a short, sharp track. Love the guitar from Johnny Guitar, and it's called She's the One. Killer track. Up next is Monkey. Sparko's bass line is great. Got a little bit of keyboard in there. Really good. Sweet, Sweet Lovin'. Bit post-punky. We got the driving drums from John Martin. And another stonking bass line from Sparko. Ace track, I like that one. Trying to Live Without You. It's a great track. It's a mellow track, but it's got a nice catchy tune. It's not a sickly ballad. It's just a really cool one. Then my favourite on here is called Rat Race. It's got a bit of a country feel to it. A bit of hillbilly in there, and I love the harmonica on here. Then we have a cover version, and this happens to be one of my favourite songs by this artist. It's Mungo Jerry's Baby Jump. But this has got a little bit more oomph than the original. The original is good, but this is really good. Crazy About Girls. This starts off with one of John Martin's great rolling drums with a great bit of Johnny guitar. Love the track. Sugar Bowl, just heavy rock and roll. It's just a great track. Really heavy riffs, but in a rock and roll style. Educated Fool, love Johnny's Sparks, his bass line again. It's a bit of a rock and rolly track. Then we have Bums Rush. Great rockabilly feel to this. It's a very simple drum beat from John. It's really good. Then we have another great track called Baby Why Do You Treat Me This Way. Solid. And this album ends up with a great cover version of Chuck Berry's Beautiful Delilah. One of the great last of that classic sounding Dr Feelgood albums. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 7.7. Okay, then coming in at number 7, we have the 8th album from 1980, A Case of the Shakes. This has got Lee on it, Jippy Mayo, or John Mayall is his real name, Mayo, who took over from Wilco on the guitars, Sparko on the bass, and the Big Figure on the drums. Opens up with a track called Jumping From Love to Love. Just classic Big Figure and Sparko bass and drum on this. Jippy is a great guitarist. It's a fantastic song. I love that song. Going Someplace Else isn't too bad. Typical gritty vocal from Lee. Fantastic track. Best in the World. Some of Jippy's great guitar work on here. Really like that. Some of his best stuff he did with the band. Punch Grub, one of my favourite tracks on here. Solid drumming from John. Howie Macy keeps that solid drum beat all the way through. Then we got my favourite track on here, King for a Day. Just proper good old fashioned rock and roll. Can't go wrong. Violent Love. It's an acoustic bluesy number. Really strong as well. Then we have a track called, let's get this right, No Mo Do Yakamo. Cracking track. One of Lee's finest vocals. Love Hound, the engine room of Dr Feelgood, and its best. Sparko and the Big Figure doing what they know best. Brilliant track. Coming to you. The start of this sounds like Everly Brothers' Claudette, but it's just another great little rock and roll number. Who's winning? Another great little track. Nice rocky riffs from Jippo. Drives Me Wild. Again, Jippo's just great on this. And the last track is the title track, Case of the Shakes. Love the drumming on here. But it's got that sort of Bo Diddley feel to it. A very strong album. Not a bad track on this album. If you like your rocky and roll and your punky rock and roll, you'll like this album. So I shall give it an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay, now we're moving into the classic albums. The ones that I really love. And we're coming in at number 6. It's the 4th album, released in 1977. And it's Sneakin Suspicion. So it's the classic lineup: Lee, Wilco, Sparko and the Big Figure, with Tim Hinckley doing some keyboards. Opens up with one of my favourite tracks by the band. It's the title track, Sneakin Suspicion, classic Dr Feelgood. That wonderful strumming of Wilco. The piano from Tim's great. It's a great opening track, my favourite track on the album. Paradise, again, it's just wonderful. The way that Wilco used to strum that guitar, it was just incredible way he did it. It was all on the downstroke on his fingers, absolutely terrific. Then we have a covers track, and it was done by, it's an Eddie Fontaine number, Nothing Shaking But the Leaves Are on the Trees. And it's a great version of it, dominated by the guitar riff of Wilco. Time with the Devil. I love John Martin's drumming on this. Very intricate stuff, but you get that lovely tone on the guitar from Wilco. Then we have a track called Lights Out, nothing to do with UFO, and it's a great track. Great bass line from Sparko on that one. Lucky 7, again, it's Wilco's guitars that dominate this, and Lee's gritty vocal. All My Love, John Martin on the drums, brilliant. He was a very good drummer, heavy hitting one as well. Then we have a Willie Dixon number, You'll Be Mine. Lots of people have covered this, and this version is great as well. Walking on the Edge, very raw riff from Wilco here. The beat's great, that bass line from Sparko keeps it going. And we end up with a Bo Diddley song, Hey Mama, Keep Your Big Mouth Shut. Excellent track and an excellent version. Another solid album. There's not much between these top albums. Very hard to rank these albums. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.9. Okay, then coming in at number 5, I have the 5th album, released in 1977. And it's the first album after Wilco Johnson left, so it's Jippy Mayo on the guitars and it's Be Seeing You. So it's John Martin, Sparko and Lee. First track is a Wilson Pickett number written by the wonderful Steve Cropper as well and Eddie Floyd, 99.5. And it's a great opening track, and it's a great version of this top drawer version as well. Up next is a track called She's a Wind Up. I love this track. I love Jippy's guitar work on here. Great drumming from Mr. Martin. By Jippy's real name is John, so there's so many Johns in this band. No wonder they use their nicknames. It's a great track though. I thought I had it made. Again, it's just got that Dr. Feelgood feel to it. Different sort of guitar sound because Jippy and Wilco, different styles, but you know it's them because you've got that wonderful engine room. Really good track. That's It, I Quit, written by Nick Lowe. It's got that pub rock feel to it. You know it's a Nick Lowe song. It's just great. Then we get as my mouse freezes. We've got a track called As Long as the Price Is Right, written by Larry Wallace. Love Sparko's bass line, popping heavy bass line, one of my favourite tracks on the album. Then my favourite track on here is a thing called High Rise. I love the chunky guitar riff from Jetty. It's so different, it's a bit different for the band, and works well. My buddy friends love this track, the harmonica, it's brilliant. Then we have Baby Jane, which is of course written by Bernard Reed and Lee Simmons and Jerry Wilson, recorded by Otis Clay, and it's a lot different from the original. This is a little bit more beefy. Then we have, I think I need to replace the batteries in this. Right, we have a Muddy Water song. It's the blues that had a baby, and then they named it rock and roll. Brilliant version of that. Looking Back, which is a Johnny Guitar Watson song, really good version. Now here's a song, the last track is 60 Minutes of Your Love, written by Isaac Hayes and David Porter, recorded by Homer Banks. I prefer the Dr Feelgood version, it's got more to it than the original. Solid album from top to bottom, so I should give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 4, we go to 1979 for the Let It Roll album. So it's Lee, Jippy, Sparko and the Big Figure. This one opens up with a cover of a Rick Danko song called Java Blue. It's a better version than the original. I think this has got a bit more oomph to it. The guitar riffs sound a lot better. It's a real good track. Then we get Feels Good, some saxophone on this. Really adds to this track, pretty good. Put Him Out of Your Mind. Unusual riffs, bit different, but it works and I do like it. Bend Your Ear. It's not too bad. It's not one of my favourite tracks, but what I like about it is the bass line from Sparko. Brilliant. My favourite track on here is a wonderful track called Hong Kong Money. Lee's vocal is superb and it's just got this real hooky riff you just can't get out of your head. Kika Smeeka is the next track. It's got a bit of a reggae feel to it, especially with that bass line. It's got that reggae feel to it. Really good. Shotgun Blues. Another track dominated by Sparko's bass line. Then we have a Pretty Face, which has got a great bit of harmonica from Lee. Absolutely killer track. Riding on the L&N. The bass line again dominates this. Another great harmonica piece from Lee. And the last track is Drop Everything Can Run, a song that Mud did a version of, and that's good, and I like this version as well. Another pretty good album, top to bottom, quality songs, and I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay then, coming in at number 3, we have the 6th album from October 1978, Private Practice, Lee, Sparko, Jippy and the Big Figure. This opens up with another Mickey Jupe cover, Down at the Doctor's, and I love this song. I love Mickey's version, but this is a really good cover of it as well. Every Kind of Ice, brilliant song. The backbone of the band, the Big Figure and Sparko, dominate the track. Excellent song. Great vocal from Lee on that as well. Then we have an Eddie Floyd number, Things Can Get Better. It's very country and it's a great version of it. Then we have my favourite song by Dr Feelgood, written by Nick Lowe and John Mayo, and it's the brilliant Milk and Alcohol. First song I ever heard by this band. Got the single. And I love this. It's just so catchy. Up next is a song written by Bob Feldman and Jory Goldstein, Nighttime. Recorded by the Strangeloves. This is a better version. I love this. Got another cover then, which is Let's Have a Heart Party, written by Jesse May Robinson, recorded by Elvis for the film Loving You. Little bit different from Elvis's, got some harmonica in it. It's a really good song and a great version. Take a Tip, love the guitar from Jippy on this, and classic John Martin drumming. Then we have another song penned by Nick Lowe, It Wasn't Me. Tell Nick Lowe's all over this. It's his sort of typical sound as well, really good. Then we have a crack track called Greaseball. It's one of them, you know it's Dr Feelgood again, because it's got the classic bass line from Sparko, the big figures, great drums, and there's some nice guitar, and it's got a bit of wah wah on that as well. It's an excellent track. Sugar Shaker is the last track, and it's just a great rocker to end the album. First album I heard by Dr Feelgood, had it on cassette, and I played it to death to the fact that it warbled. I've got it on CD now. Well, I haven't. It's on my iPod, but I love this album. I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay. The top two are actually their first two albums, both recorded in 1975. First one is the one they released. The second one I think they released. Get it right. Yes, this is the second of the two albums of 1975. Their second album, Malpractice. Lee Wilco, the big figure, and Sparko, with Bob Andrews doing the keyboard, saxophone and piano. So this one opens up with a little number by Bo Diddley, I Can Tell, which is a great version. Nice guitar from Wilco. It's just that unique sound that Wilco created. Great song. Up next is Going Back Home. Again, it's a great bass line, great vocal, that lovely twang on the guitar from Wilco. Great track. Then my favourite track, and one of my favourite tracks by the band, Back in the Night. I just think it's just got an addictive riff that only this band could come up with. It's I've seen clips of Wilco do this. Watching him play it is amazing. That's just a great track. Next up, Another Man, another classic for me. Again, we got the distinctive guitar tones of Wilco Johnson, some great drumming by John Martin. Up next, Rollin' and a Tumblin', first recorded by Willie Newburn in 1929. It's one of the classic Delta blues songs, and this is a great version of it. They've just brought it up to date. Absolutely brilliant. Don't Let Your Daddy Know. That's another good track. The bluesy, crisp harmonica from Lee. Then we have a Bobby Parker cover, Watch Your Step. Another great blues artist. Love this track. Then we have another cover. It's by Huey Piano Smith, and it's called Don't Just You Know It. Brilliant track. Then we have another cover, and it's written from Lieber and Stroller, and it's the wonderful Riot in Cell Block Number 9. First recorded by the Robins in 1954. Great drumming on there. This is a real more gritty version. And then we have another track by Nick Lowe and Wilco Johnson, Because You're Mine. Tell it's who the co-writer is. Brilliant track. You Shouldn't Call the Doctor If You Can't Afford the Bills. What a great rock and roll track. Some great piano on here from Bob Andrews. He really rocks on that. It's a great track to end the album. A classic album by Dr Feelgood. Great mixture of original songs, all written by Wilco, and some great covers. It's a great all-round album, so I should give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. But my favourite album is the debut that was released in January of 1979, and it's the brilliant Down by the Jetty. Lee, Wilco, Sparko, and the big figure. We've got Bob Andrews again on organ and saxophone, and Brinsley Schwartz does saxophone as well. Opens up with She Does It Right, one of my favourite tracks by the band. It's just raw, but I do like the re-recorded version as well, so that's why that's in there, because there's so many great tracks on here. Then we have one of my favourite John Lee Hooker songs, Boom Boom. Great version of it. Absolutely top drawer. Up next, The More I Give. Some lovely keyboard work here from Bob Andrews. Again, the lovely twangs of Wilco. Then we have their very first single, Roxette. I love that drum beat from John Martin, and the chugging riff from Wilco. Absolutely brilliant song, my favourite track on this album. One Weekend, really raw, so raw and sharp you could cut your hands on it. It's brilliant, great guitar riffs, a fantastic lyric from Lee. This Ain't the Way You Be to Behave, a bluesy sound. It's got that chug to it, and if you can, in the back, you can actually sing the blues the way that Dave Edmunds does it. It's that sort of track. That jun, 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 I love it. I Don't Mind. Second favourite track on it. It's just simple, very basic, but it's just so good. 20 yards behind, some of the best harmonica playing from Lee on this. Very underrated harmonica player, I think. It's a great track. Up next, Keep It Out of Sight. Short, 3-minute track with some great drumming from John. Absolutely top. From John Martin, that is, of course. All Through the City. Another great track, another classic. The rhythm is great. The bass from Sparko is great. Then they have a cover of a Mickey Jupp song, Checkbook, one of my favourite songs by Mickey Jupp, and it's a very good version. And then we get Oh Yeah, written by Mick Green. Certainly got that 60s 50 feel to it. There's some great playing on this. It's a great little track. And then we have a live track, and it's a little medley. Boney Maroney, written by Larry Williams, and then Tequila, also made by the co-wrote by Larry Williams. It's just really two good live versions of these songs. Boney Maroney is a classic, and their version of Tequila is quite fun. So that, what a way to just end this album. This is a great album. I like it for so many reasons. One, it's raw. It sounds like it's recorded live, and when you hear the live track, there's no you can't tell the difference that is actually live at a gig, and the others are not. Brilliant. Now, I love this album. And I actually brought this a few years ago along with Malpractice. 2 albums for $5 in a charity shop. And I only played them for the very first time on the... Obviously, I've got them on the iPod, but it was the first time I'd listened to both of these albums. Actually, the albums, and they were brilliant to hear. And so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay. Oh, finally done this. It's been a terrible day, and I just hope this recording's a lot better. If not, I will pull what hair I have got out. That's all today, thank God. Because I don't know what time this will go up, how long it will take, but hey ho, it will be up at some time. Anyway, that's all for today. So tomorrow we've got Battle Royale, second round, tie 2, and that is between Revolver and Diamond Dogs. And also tomorrow we have got Mixing It Up. No, we've got Pick and Mix, and it's Wander Down the Sidewalk. And we'll be looking at the US Top 10 for the 8th of February 1962. So have a good day. I'm glad this has hopefully recorded better. Bye for now.